Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my YouTube channel and podcast, helping other people evolve. Today, I have the beautiful Ronsha with me. How are you today?
I'm doing well on yourself.
I'm great. I'm so excited to interview her because we chatted, geez, it was a while ago. It was beginning of the summer, maybe at Sonia's.
Or was it even last year?
Oh, it could even been last year. See how fast time goes? Super quick, doesn't it? Yeah, so anyways, we talked about her being on my podcast and I ran into her again last week and I was like, I really would like to have you on there. So it's one of those things that I feel like you have to do it in the moment. Like say you're gonna do it, then do it. Otherwise you procrastinate and everything goes away. So for those of you who do not know what Hope is about, it's just helping other people evolve. And I started this mission and vision just because I thought so many people are home struggling all by themselves and they think they're all alone in struggles. And unfortunately, we all go through struggles, but fortunately, we've learned how to deal with those struggles, get through those struggles, whatever it is that we have to use, the tools we have to use, your faith. My faith is in God, and I express that all the time, and whatever your faith is, but we can get through those struggles. So my hope is that you'll maybe hear Ron Shea's story today or Jamie's story that I just launched and know that you can get up and get out of bed and keep going. Ron Shea, I don't know a lot about your story. She lives local, so that's always nice when I can interview someone sitting next to me. I like doing that. But I guess let's kind of just talk about, what it is that you've went through and how you've gotten through these things and, how life looks today.
For me, even this last year, when it comes to grief and loss, it's been my brother transitioned February the 8th of 24, and then my sister-in-law transitioned 7/24/24.
Oh,
So this year has really been, and they both transitioned from cancer.
okay.
So taking care of my brother, which he took care of us when we were younger. We lost our mom. Actually, today is her transition date, November the 1st, 1988. So it's been 36 years. But when she transitioned, he took care of us. So when he got sick, I knew immediately, to take care of him.
Yes.
So that part of that this year has been emotional. It's been a roller coaster. Far as like the grief, and then like I said, we get over one with my brother, and then here my sister-in-law. She transitions 5 months later.
Now, is that his wife?
So that's my husband's.
Okay, your
sister.
husband. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, that's my husband's sister.
Okay.
So I lost my brother, and then he lost his sister.
Geez.
So that has been that, and then even myself getting sick in the midst of it all. February, I ended up in the hospital as we were making arrangements for my brother's services. I ended up in the hospital, just very fatigued, and I knew something was going on. Ended up being that my hemoglobin was critically low, was 7. My iron saturation level was 3%. So thank God I did make it to the hospital. My doctor called me and she said, get to the hospital immediately. So I did. So, dealing with all of that, but then God spoke. After my brother transitioned February the 8th, February the 9th, he immediately spoke and said that I am my own assignment. When you're used to caring for everybody else.
Yeah.
And so to hear him speak those words, and I heard him loud and clear, that I was my own assignment. So that's what it's been since February, has been taking care of me for my health, getting iron infusions. It was every other week since February. Went to the doctor just 2 weeks ago. And my levels are up. They're where they need to be.
Good.
So it's been 8 months of battling, but then I deal with something that's greater, that's deeper than that. When it comes to, they wanted me to have a surgery, a hysterectomy.
Okay.
So, whatever I put in, it's coming right back out. So, it's been a roller coaster, but I'm grateful to God because he's sustained me, he's kept me. And because of my obedience, when he said that I am my own assignment. And that's what has been taking care of me. So these 8 months, I'm grateful that to be on the upward spiral of it. Taking every day, every moment as it comes.
Yeah.
just literally taking that every moment as it comes. And just grateful to be able to be here and even to serve.
Yes, yes. Well, I say it's amazing. My friend Cheryl and I, used to say, I say things like when you saw God come in or you heard God's voice or things, you're like, it was crazy. And I'm like, I don't like it. So we would be like, no, it's amazing, because crazy sounds a different way. So when we say it's amazing, but it's amazing that you just spoke on the service part and taking care of yourself, because I just did a live video about this. Like every one of us has a purpose, a gift, and a gift to serve, but we have to serve ourselves first. And if we're not serving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, we lose so much of ourselves, our health, things like that. And we relate a lot because I took care of people for years and years and years. In the last 2 years, it's been me, and it's been different. And it's a hard transition because you almost feel selfish, but you got to listen when God says, hey, this is you. But the selfishness, the people that you did take care of all the time, and now they're like, wait, why aren't you taking care of me anymore? Right? Well, you're a grown person, but it's, accepting that and making those boundaries and learning that. And I think that's very important.
Yes, very important. And then the next thing he spoke to me was, going through all of that. And then to hear him speak, to serve and not suppress, I'm like, oh, okay. As much as I wanted to lay on the couch and grieve and, just boil up and just go through the go through what I needed to go through. But to hear God say serve and not suppress was hard, because I'm like, okay, God, now I need you to show me how,
right,
when, where, why.
Yeah.
That I'm supposed to serve so I don't suppress.
Right.
So that began to be my prayer. So, and that's what he's been answering. So my servitude looks how he wants me to serve. It's not how I'm used to serving. So I have to seek him so he can show me where. Even being here today, I had to pray, okay, God, is this something that I'm supposed to do?
Right.
Again, don't want to be out of the will of God.
Right.
So that serve and not suppress is something that's been amazing.
Yeah.
That's been absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. And listening, right?
Yes.
That's the biggest part. And then, well, through that too, we have to have our faith in that.
Yes.
Because God could talk to us all day, but if we're not believing and having that faith, then we're never going to take that jump. It's just, I just talked about all of this in my little video, because like that leap of faith, Steve Harvey does a video and it's called Jump. And he does a speech, and it was right on Family Feud that he did it like before the show started or whatever. But he talks about that, being obedient, be still, asking God. You have to ask God for the things and ask him, like you said before you came here today, is this something that I'm supposed to do?
Yes.
And sometimes we get that gut that tells us don't do it, and we still do it. And then it's like, and then something happens and you're like, I told you not to do it, but we have to pay attention to the gut part of it too.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure like with the grief and the loss of your brother and your sister-in-law, and then dealing with, well, having to have the hysterectomy and all of that. You did have the hysterectomy.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did not have the hysterectomy.
No, I was
after you said it, then I was like, wait, maybe she didn't have to have the hysterectomy.
No, I actually other alternatives. So
oh, okay. Yes. Awesome. See there, that's great. See, listen, that's what you need to do. But going through all that grief, and then also knowing that you had to work on you and taking care of you, but I'm sure through that too, as you're a care person like that, it was hard because your husband was grieving too. And to be able to be like, okay, I have to take care of me, but also I have to be there for my husband.
Yes.
Yeah, that was probably a lot too. Mentally, mentally, that's people don't understand that. And like you said, we can lay down for a day and grieve, and we can lay down maybe for 2 days, but if we stay there, we're not doing a good purpose for anybody, and especially not ourselves.
No.
Because I just talked Toledo weather, right? When it's cloudy like this, which we've had great weather. I mean,
yes,
we definitely have some sunshine.
Have. Yes.
But like this gloominess, and I said, if you lay in bed for a day and it's gloomy, 2 days and it's gloomy, 3 days and it's gloomy, you're not getting out of bed.
No.
You have to take everything in your soul to get out of there. And so that's why I think it's important to keep going.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I I talk about a lot. Now, you showed me your bracelet, that's you have your brother's ashes?
Yes, so in my butterfly, it's a butterfly and it's my brother ashes, and then I also have a necklace, which is also with his ashes in it. So I keep it, he's near and dear to my heart wherever I go.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and so it's just amazing that we're having this conversation, because the other day I did my own podcast and I talked about signs, like different signs from our loved ones that have passed.
Mhm.
You know, I said, I don't think that my mom's a monarch butterfly. That's not what, but I
Right.
believe that God sends us those little things to let you know, like, your brother's with you, you know, your sister-in-law's with you, your
Yes.
mom's with you. And I think it's important to pay attention to those
Yes.
signs.
Yes, and there's been a card, well, not a cardinal, a blue jay.
Blue jay, okay.
And the one day it was two
Mm.
blue jays in the back, and I said, okay, now I said, okay, you know, God, thank you.
Mhm.
You know, and some people, however they may feel like, oh
Right,
no,
right.
but like I said, God does work through, you know, he worked through people, he worked through animals, he works how he chooses to.
Right.
And so when I did see that, I'm like, wow, you know, even with the butterflies, it's always been butterflies, the signs of butterflies, and seeing them even with when we were out cutting grass, because my brother was doing a landscaping, he was cutting
Oh,
grass.
okay.
So to be out, and even when we go look at a job and it's like, and here's this butterfly
Telling you that it's,
you know, that it's okay.
it's okay.
And that, you know, for me, and again, like I said, and I'm really just being in tune with the Holy Spirit,
Mhm.
listening to God, how he's speaking, and even through the signs and wonders, you know,
Yes.
paying attention to all of that.
Yes, I agree 100% on all that, because that's what I do too. And the last time that I really had my affirmation, I got ordained to do weddings.
Okay.
And I was doing a small wedding for my friends that lived in Arizona, and I was standing next to the groom, and she was coming out the door, and a monarch butterfly came and it just sat on the electrical wires or whatever, and just sat there the whole time. And I was like, that was my mom, just like, good job. God's
Mhm.
saying, like, you're doing right what you're doing. So those are important. So grief wise, I always tell people, and I always say this is my opinion, you know, grief is a monster. You know, grief comes and grief goes. And even with my son that passed away 32 years ago, I still have days where it is like totally drains me emotionally. And I think some people try to keep their grief inside. Thank you. That's what I wanted you to talk about a little bit. Maybe somebody
No.
on here needs to hear this today.
No, do not, please do not suppress, oppress your grief. Feel how you feel, let it out. I know most people don't want to talk about a therapist. I need Jesus and I need a therapist.
Yes, yes,
So, you know, a guide and a therapist, I need them both.
yes.
But the tools that have been given, you know, we have to apply those tools. And, you know, I go to a women's grief group.
Okay.
So again, getting the help that I need,
Mhm.
not just sitting and just basking in it,
Yeah.
but have to be proactive
Yes.
to go and get it. It's not, yes, I can sit on the couch and I'll find myself in a deep, dark place. But no, do not. Just last night, prime example, I was in the kitchen. My brother always cooked. Was a chef. He loved to cook. So as I'm cutting up the onions and stuff, preparing for today, and you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, November 1st, you know. So it's like last year he was here
Right.
to do the balloon release with us.
Oh,
And
for
I
your
have
mom.
another sibling, yes, for our mom. So that just came
Sure.
upon me like, wow, you know, this year he's not here. So, you know, I start crying and again, but I let it out.
Yeah.
But thank God for memories. So I go to my phone and there's a video in there where we were doing the balloon release, but then there's also a video when we were singing some of her songs. One her favorite song, On the Rough Side of the Mountain. So we were doing that, but then my brother's like, okay, sister, Ronsha, you know, and we just start laughing.
Right.
You know, so it's literally was on repeat as I was in the kitchen doing what I was, you know, cooking and stuff like that. But again, everybody is not as fortunate to have those memories, to have those things. And even I didn't understand why, but God literally had me recording everything. Everything. So I mean, I have a lot in my phone from my brother. Even with my sister-in-law, there's a lot of things that I have in my phone from her. But you know, and it was literally listening to the voice of God. So, but no, you please don't.
Right.
Whatever you do, please do not hold it in.
Yeah.
Release how it is that you're feeling. It's okay to not be okay.
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't make you no weaker, no less than, or none of that. But please release how you're really feeling, because it actually slows up your healing process if you don't.
Yes.
You know, and if you feel that you need to seek a therapist, or how whatever it is, do what you need to do to be able to get you to a place that you can start your healing journey.
Yes, I agree. I agree 100% on that. And I love that you brought up memories, because so a good friend of mine, she was murdered by her ex-husband to be in 2020. And after everything, you know, and we would post pictures and things like that. And I'm good friends with her mom and her dad and her 4 kids. But my one friend would always be like, I wish people would quit posting pictures. I'm sure that it makes them, Cindy and Steve, so sad. And I'm like, it probably doesn't, because they're actually the memories. And I remember when my bonus son was killed in a car accident, and his mom said at the cemetery, my biggest fear is people are going to forget him. You know, so please talk about him. Please share the memories. That's what we have memories for, you know, even if the person is still here, we still have the memories of people to talk about, you know. And I think that that's important for people. That's just my opinion again, but every mom, every person I've talked to that has lost someone close to them, husband, wife, mom, dad, all of it, they like, yeah, I love to hear the stories, you know, and we all gonna leave this planet Earth one day, you know. And it's something that sometimes people look at me like, well, that's not very positive. I'm like, well, the facts are the facts, right? I mean, we're only here for a moment, whatever God's purpose is for us, and then it's time for us
we
to
all
go
have
home.
an appointed time.
We do,
you know, just like Ecclesiastic says, there's a time and a season for everything.
Yeah.
And we all have an appointed time.
Yes.
I used to say, you know, that's like how we pull numbers when we go into stores and stuff like that. I'm like, that's one place we don't have to pull a number.
Right.
Because God knows our number, and He knows when our timing is going to be. We don't know. Right. But He knows.
Yeah. Oh, I like that pulling the number thing. That's a good one. Yeah. And we don't. And so that's why I'm such a big advocate for being kind, you know, and just making memories and living life, you know. That's so important to me. Like, live your life. Don't sit back and let other people live your life for you, you know, and dictate what you're going to do. God knows what He has planned for you.
Yes, He does.
It's just us going and doing that plan, you know. And I think that's important. I love what you're doing and serving. And you said you're serving at church today?
Yes. So today we're having a Friendsgiving, part of our men's ministry and the Agape, and part of the Agape ministry. So we're serving today. It's a Friendsgiving. So we're taking a dish and we're also bringing a gift.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, being able to do that. And then, like I said, this morning, being able to serve through again, with the Agape and the outreach ministry, the men's ministry, being able to serve through the Cherry Street mission this morning.
That's
So
awesome.
that part of serving has been a part of my healing journey.
Okay. That's awesome. The giving back.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I feel like that is a healing part of our journey, is, you know, giving back for, you know, all the things that we went through. And it might not be like you're serving that because that's what happened to you, I guess is the way I want to say it. You're serving because that's what we're to do, serve, you know. And I said that earlier too, like, we're meant to serve, but we're not meant to be walked on.
Correct.
If that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I think that it's true.
Because we're not a doormat.
Exactly. And sometimes when we say serve, people are like, and then they serve so much that they're wiped out. And it's not that. It's just what we're meant to do, to serve, but also to serve ourselves and keep our what word do I want to say? protect our peace, but that's not what I want to say. Our worth.
Yes,
Keep our worth.
yes, we
through it
have,
all.
because we have to, like you said, because of the burnout, you know, and again, when God serve, not suppress. So that's where those questions come in at, you know, who, why, where, you know, with the serving. Like we was riding down the street and clear as day, me and my husband and I heard the Lord say, community feeding. Me and my brother, we used to do it years ago.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is like a Monday or Tuesday. And I'm like, and don't delay, don't procrastinate. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, so where we're supposed to do this, Lord, you know, and again, I waited and he gave me the location. So, you know, where most people don't want to go because of the area. And it was on Huron and Locust. And we actually got a U-Haul truck, and that was that Monday or Tuesday. That Friday we set up, and we served over 200 people.
Oh my goodness.
There we served barbecue hot dogs and hamburgers and everything. There were some shoes that was donated. We had shoes and stuff out there, and when I say everything was gone, everything was gone. So then even last Friday, this was the second time.
Okay.
So we did chili. We
awesome.
popped up, and again, everything was gone. So, you know, again, but then that also is getting me back to, I love cooking.
Okay.
So now it's, you know, my passion, you know, things are coming back. You know, things are coming back. I don't want to go back to where I was. Because there's greater, there's more. Right. There's more. Yeah. So in the servitude, in the serving, it's just, it's amazing.
It's such isn't it such a grateful feeling? Just
Yes.
like, just hearing the words of people that they truly mean thank you.
Yes.
You know, thank you. It's so powerful, and it's just, and it, you know, like serving those doing that is big, and some people can't, you know, do that part, but just being kind to somebody,
Yes.
even, or even serving by holding the door open for somebody, and they just look at you and they're like, thank you. And you don't know what kind of day they were having or anything. And that could have been just the thing that got them, their mind where they needed to be at that moment, you know? And so I really am big on that too, like service and being kind and helping people and not expecting anything either. Correct. Right? There's that part
In
too.
return.
In return.
You know, checking your motives.
Yes.
You know, checking your motives and making sure that your heart is pure and that your motives are pure. And you know that you're truly doing it from the heart. Yeah, for sure. And I want to go back a little bit to what you said about therapy. You know, so many people, my mom was one of them. I'd be like, Mom, you really need to go see a counselor, because I knew what she went through in her life with my grandparents, and my dad was very abusive, and then her next husband was narcissistic. So I was like, no, I don't. I'm not crazy. And so I think people have that narrative that maybe not so much anymore, because we're in a different generation. People are actually embracing mental health and things like that. Thank God. But how important it's okay to go talk to a therapist. Yes. It's okay. They're there to give you the tools and to help you. And I think they're probably one of the best people to talk to, because they don't judge you at all. Correct. You know, you got that no judgment right there, because most people will judge you when you try to talk to them about some things. You know, so I'm just glad that you touched base a little bit on that. So yeah, it's been a great conversation. Yes. Is there anything else you want to add to this today? Not a whole lot. I know we just, domestic violence, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yes. I say a twisted survivor of domestic violence. But pay attention to the signs. Because they're there. Yeah. You know, so many times when we're in a relationship or whatever, situationship or whatever you want to call it, right? You know, you don't pay attention to those signs. So, you know, pay attention to the signs. Yeah, that's, I mean, if you don't mind talking a little bit longer, can we talk a little bit more about that? Okay. I know it was October also. Yeah. And I just posted my friend's, podcast, and she was a breast cancer survivor. So I was a day late on that too, but that's okay. It doesn't matter, because I think we need to be aware of this all the time. All the time. They say, you know, say October. Right. But like I said, this is something that, you know, being an advocate, this is something that I talk about all the time. Right. You know, that I'm there for people all the time. It's just not the month of October. Right. So
You told me that you've been with your husband 34 years.
Yes, it'll be 34 years in December.
But you were twisted in that 34
Yes.
years. So
Yes.
can you go in a little bit about all that?
So like we was talking about the twisted survivor. Being with him, actually, we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And my thing was, if you put your hands on me, I'm gonna hit you back.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of, what it was. And so then we, once it got to a part, it was like, we, with the kids, somebody has to want something different.
Mhm. Yes.
And the one something different was, stepping back, stepping away,
Mhm.
and, leaving. And during that time, we both, he got help. I got help for, myself and our daughter. And we ended up getting back together.
Mm.
So a lot of stories don't end that way.
Right.
Some stories, God forbid, end tragically, when you leave and go back.
Mhm.
A lot of times, but when I say it's been a blessing.
Mhm.
And even this last year, this going into this 34th year has been an absolute blessing.
Mhm.
Because we've been able to really pray together.
Mhm.
And really learn each other on a different level.
Mhm.
And when I'm talking about absolutely amazing. And so that's where the twisted,
Okay.
comes in at. Like I said, and this year, December the 22nd, will make 34 years
Wow.
that we've been together. We've been married since 2006.
So, so when you were married at the time that you guys split up then?
Correct. No.
Correct. Okay. And so when you left the situation?
Yes.
Yes. Was that hard?
It was hard. Having a kid together. And we have been together all these years,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, but enough is enough.
Right.
Enough is enough. And like I said, it wasn't just, him putting his, here I am, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's where the twisted comes in at.
Mhm.
So somebody has to be, like I said, when you get to
Right.
that point, enough is enough.
Yeah.
So you do something to make it
Right.
change.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what it was.
And how old was your daughter when you split up then?
She was like 6.
Yeah.
Like she was young.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
she was
so
young.
I talk about this too, especially with me myself too. I was in a domestic violence relationship, and when I left, my son was 5, but it was the same thing. Like, did I want my son to grow up thinking this is okay? That I would probably hit back. I don't remember. I was, but nothing like, usually it was just to protect myself. But for my son to know that it's okay to treat someone like that, I had to leave for him to know that it's not okay. And I think a lot of people stay because of the kids, but we have to look at it in that big picture, like we got to help the kids so it doesn't continue the cycle of that. Because in that aspect, sometimes people think that's normal. It's unfortunately to think that way, but my dad was very abusive to my mom, and the relationship I got in, he was just like my dad, but to me it was normal, and I was going to fix him. But that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
But I do know too that they do statistically say that when you leave is when a lot of times the tragedy happens. I just saw a lady's post yesterday that I think she said for 4 months she was preparing to leave, and she was boxing stuff up, and she was telling her husband that she was getting rid of stuff, and she was actually boxing it up so she could get on out of there. And sometimes that has to happen. Fortunately, I was blessed that I was able to leave, and fortunately you were too. But to think that, so how old's your daughter now?
28.
28. So she was 6. So isn't that something? How long were you guys apart then after you left?
It was like months. It wasn't like a long span of time.
Yeah.
But like I said, we went back.
Right.
Something we had to change. We had to want something different.
Yeah.
And
you must really love each other.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I've since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
After losing my mom and coming here to this foreign place of Ohio with the snow, coming from North Carolina.
Oh, is that where you came from? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
But I was 15 years old. So,
yeah.
Like I said, and I'm, actually hitting 50. So
you are?
Yes. 9 grandbabies.
9 grandbabies.
Yes.
And I know your one granddaughter she has her own little business, right?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes.
Slushies, was it?
Yes, popcorn, Gabrielle,
Yeah.
sweets and treats.
Yeah, it's so cute. I love it. So, all right, well, I think we covered everything
Yeah.
then for today. Yeah. Everybody, I appreciate you getting on Hope. Ronsha, I really appreciate you coming here and doing this
Absolutely.
with me, and we'll get back on again, because I feel like, I like to do these and we hear a few things and we get some hope and we get some tools, but I like to check back like in 6 months or a year to see, where your serving's going and what God's done in your life
Yeah.
and things like that. So
Nope, I absolutely appreciate it. There's one thing I will say, like I said, don't, when it comes to the domestic violence, pay attention to the red flags.
mhm,
Don't think that you have a lot of time and leave. People say, why did you stay? That's the biggest question,
yeah,
why did you
yeah.
stay? Why did you stay? Well, for one, it's familiarity.
Yeah.
And if you know what I'm saying, so it's all types of different things. But my thing is, get out, get the help,
Yeah.
find you someone that you can confide in, that you can talk to, that will be there for
Right.
you and not judge you,
Mhm,
but that will be there for you. That's the biggest thing. And trust, having that trust.
mhm.
That's another big factor, is having trust.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And just knowing, that you can get out.
Yes.
But you do sometimes have to have a really good plan, because I
Yes.
know when they say, why did you stay? You're so mentally abused by that point too, that, my ex was like, I'm gonna take Chad, you're never gonna find anybody, I'm gonna kill you. I mean, there was all these things that I had coming at me, but at the end of the day, I knew I needed better for myself and
Yes.
my son,
Yes.
so. Well, everybody, thank you so much for getting on Hope. Like I said, I'm on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things. It just helps get more stories out there. Just to remind everybody that there is always hope for whatever you go through.
Yes.
And with that, I hope you all have an amazing day.